Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julianne Roy. My pronouns are she, her, and my essential statement for my senior project was the development and implementation of a plastic water bottle collection device. In terms of why I chose this project, there were a multitude of reasons, of course, but the main one is just my passion for the environment and for nature. I'm a mountain biker at heart, so I really love enjoying nature and everything like that. So it was important for me that I would have a project related to saving the environment and helping the environment as a community. I decided to focus specifically on the 3 R's of waste management because I felt like this would be something that would be simple enough for our school as a community to work together on. These are reduce, reuse, and recycle. I chose specifically recycling because this is something that as a school we already do. We do this with paper and plastic water bottles, but I felt like the plastic water bottles could be a more efficient system, something that could be better for our school, and so I wanted to raise some awareness about this. So some initial goals that I had for this project were that I wanted it to be a simple process. I needed people to just drop their water bottle in and move on with their life. If it was something complicated, then people wouldn't want to participate. I also wanted it to be exciting. I wanted this process to be encouraging. If I wanted people to actually participate in this, I needed the design to be bright, exciting, colorful, something like that people would really want to participate in. And finally, I just wanted it to be functional. I think it's important that the library staff isn't bothered by it at all while it's in the library, and I didn't want the janitor staff either to be bothered by it if they needed to move it around to do any of their cleaning or anything like that. In terms of the vision of a graduate, I really feel like I touched on the communication part of this project because with communication, although I'm not verbally speaking to students about recycling, just having that be so visible and in the school and very prominent in the library was important so that our community would know how important and even easy it is to just recycle. And then as you can see here on the screen, this is what my container started out as. So not fitting any of these goals, but you'll see as the presentation goes on, there's a lot of development that goes into this. Next up, I'd like to speak about my wonderful mentor, Stefan DeMilla. He's a principal member of technical staff at a well-known software company called Oracle. Through his experience at this company, he has gotten a lot of experience with programming and software development, and so all of these skills he was able to pass on to me in my project, which was super helpful when I was designing my own software. And he also has many other capabilities. In his free time, he enjoys fixing his own cars and building different things around his house. So all of the tools that he uses with tools and things like that, he was able to pass on to me as well. And in a more general sense, he just really helped me to understand that the engineering design process isn't just in school. It's not just helpful in school, it's helpful in the real world, and he showed me how that was possible. So next up, my project can be turned into 3 different phases. So it's the research phase, the development phase, and the evaluation phase. The research phase, of course, was super important because there were many things that I didn't know for my project that I learned through this phase. The first of which was which computer I would be using to put my software onto. So there are many choices in this world. I think there's been so much development in this field, and so I decided to choose Arduino because it's a simple program and it's something that I had seen other people around me use before. The only downside with Arduino is that it uses a language called C, and I had never used this language previously. I'd only used another language called Python. So a lot of my research was related to this, learning this language and understanding how it worked so that I would be able to make my software from this language. Another part of my project that may seem unimportant or simple is color theory. It's super important because one of my goals was literally having something that's exciting and something that people gravitate towards. So understanding my audience and understanding how they will react to different colors was so important for my project. And then finally, of course, tool safety and use was very important because if I didn't use the tools the right way, I could hurt myself or someone else, and it wouldn't turn out the way that I needed it to. Next up is the development phase, and this, of course, is a very intricate and long process, so I split it up into 5 simple steps: programming, testing, building, combining, and monitoring. So the first of these is programming. So as you can see in this picture to the left, this is a flow chart. And so for me, visualizing my project and how my software would work, it was very important to have a flow chart because it really helped me to see exactly what I needed to do with my code and exactly what I needed to do in terms of my whole machine. And then on the right, completely, you can see this is my final code. So it may not seem like a lot of lines, but this picture in the middle is all of the different iterations of my code that I went through. So it was a lot of work working through each line to make sure that it did exactly what I needed it to do. Next up is the testing phase of my project, and so during this I took all the little pieces of code that I had made and I tested them on all of the components. So on this picture to the left you can see a screen, and so this screen has a little smiley face on it, and as simple as it might seem to have just a smiley face on there, learning how to turn it on, learning how to control it, learning how to connect a counter to it was a long process, and I learned a lot through this step. And on the right you can see there's a little sensor on there, and that's an ultrasonic sensor, which was my original plan for the sensor. And so here I was just testing that as well. Next up was the building phase. I'm going to play this while I talk. So in this video, as you can kind of see, I'm sanding down my machine. And so this step was a lot of work, I would say, because it's a lot of manual work. But in the end, it allowed me It gave me help for the next step, which was painting my machine because it made the paint stick even better. And then in the other pictures, you can see I'm using a saw to cut a hole into a piece of plywood, and so this plywood would be holding all of the computer components for my project, and that hole would be where the chute would be connected to for the water bottles to go through. So all these steps require a lot of planning, and this is why this step took so much time. Okay, and then next up was the combining phase, and this is when I combined the physical container for my project and also the coding components for my project. I had to take it apart multiple times, unfortunately, because things like wires were coming undone, and I had to glue wires into place so that they wouldn't be jostled as I moved my machine around. So this took a while, but once it was finished, I finally got to my final product. Here it is. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's in the school library. And I really think that this accomplishes the 3 goals that I had before, which were a simple design, an exciting design, and a functional design. I mean, it's super colorful, and it's an exciting design that draws people's eyes as they see it. It's super simple to use. You drop the water bottle in, and then it counts it automatically. And on that little screen, it's going to say whatever the new number of bottles is there. And it's super functional. You just plug it into the wall, and it turns on by itself. So I'm very proud of this final product. So in terms of the evaluation phase, as I said before, I really think that it achieves those initial goals. It's simple, exciting, and functional. So I really think that that's a big success of my machine. There were definitely some failures and challenges during the course of my project. As you can see on the top here, that's the ultrasonic sensor I mentioned before. Unfortunately, when I tried applying it, because my chute is circular, the beam was bouncing off the walls and the sensor was getting confused. So I decided to switch, and I decided on an infrared sensor, which you can see at the bottom. And so this sensor works by just sending out a beam on one side, and on the other side it receives it, and that fixed that problem. And so many problems like this I had, and it took a lot of planning and talking through to fix those. In terms of the future of this project, I think there are so many avenues that this could be taken down. This project is far from done. I think that you could find a new screen that would be bigger and more interactive with students that would show more information about recycling. I mean, you could even have a robotic arm putting the bottle in for the person. There's so many ways that this project could be taken further, and I'm really excited to see how future students will be able to take it from themselves. And then I have a few acknowledgements. I'd like to thank the STEAM Scholars teachers for giving me advice, especially in the beginning stages of my project when I wasn't too sure exactly what I wanted to do. I'd also like to thank my mentor. He was super helpful in even just talking through ideas and letting me know when he had extra suggestions or things like that. That was super helpful. I'd like to thank my fellow students who gave many helpful suggestions when I was stuck at points in my project. And then finally, my family, who not only gave me the resources to complete this project, but also gave me frequent encouragements when I needed them. And I really appreciate all of their help. Thank you.